The Middle East is on fire, and the ground beneath it just shifted in a way that will change the world forever. For 37 years, one man held absolute power in Iran. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was the final word on every missile launched, every proxy war fought, and every law passed. But now he is dead, killed in a massive, unprecedented United States and Israeli airstrike right inside his supposedly secure compound in Tehran. That strike did not just take out a leader, it shattered an entire era. But what happened next is the real story, and it is something most people have absolutely no idea how to process. Right in the middle of raining bombs and a 10-day war that is choking the global oil supply, Iran has named a new supreme leader. His name is Mojtaba Khamenei. Yes, the son has just taken the throne of the father. If you are just realizing how massive this geopolitical shift is, and you want the clear, unfiltered truth on the global conflicts shaping our future, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is moving faster than missiles can fly. To understand what it really means that Mojtaba Khamenei is now the supreme authority of the Islamic Republic, you have to look at the unbreakable rule to Iran was built upon. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution violently overthrew the Shah. The entire point of that bloody revolution was to destroy the idea of hereditary rule, the idea that absolute power is passed down from a father to a son by blood. They called it corrupt. They called it un-Islamic. Yet, here we are today. The very system designed to prevent the monarchy has just created its own dynasty. Mojtaba, a 56-year-old cleric who has never held a public elected office in his life, has just inherited the most dangerous and powerful seat in the Middle East. He has spent his entire life in the shadows, quietly building a massive web of influence behind closed doors, tightly woven with the feared Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Now, he steps into the light, not just as a religious figure, but as a wartime commander of a nation under siege. The transition is explosive. United States President Donald Trump has already called this succession completely unacceptable, and the Israeli military has openly declared that any new leader is an automatic target. The stakes could not possibly be any higher. So who exactly is this new man holding the keys to Iran's massive military machine? Mojtaba Khamenei is not a politician you see shaking hands or giving loud speeches to huge crowds. For decades, he has been the invisible hand quietly moving the pieces on the board. While his father was the public face of the nation, Mojtaba was the ultimate insider working in the dark. He built deep, unbreakable loyalty with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, also known as the IRGC. You have to understand, the IRGC is not just a regular army. They are a massive force. They control the country's ballistic missiles, they fund dangerous proxy groups across the Middle East, and they run a huge chunk of Iran's entire economy. And Mojtaba, he is widely believed to be their hand-picked guy. That means the military hardliners are now completely in charge. There is absolutely no moderate voice left in the room to hit the brakes. What this means for the rest of the world is truly chilling. When a new leader takes over, especially during a massive war, they have to prove they are strong. They cannot show a single ounce of weakness, or the sharks circling them will attack immediately. Mojtaba knows that the United States and Israel are watching his every single move, testing him, pushing to see if he will crack under the extreme pressure of this moment. To survive his first days in power, he has to strike back. He has to show his enemies outside the borders and the angry citizens inside the borders that he is just as fierce as his father was. This is the exact recipe for a massive escalation. We are no longer just looking at targeted strikes. We are staring down the barrel of a full-scale regional conflict that could easily drag in superpowers from all over the globe. The global oil markets are already in a state of absolute panic. Cargo ships are completely avoiding the main trade routes in the Middle East, and the price of energy is skyrocketing everywhere. But the real fear is not just about the economy. The real fear is about what a newly crowned supreme leader, with everything to prove, will do with a massive arsenal of advanced weapons. Will he order his shadow armies to unleash everything they have? Will he close the critical waterways to keep the entire world running? Most people have absolutely no idea how close we are to a terrifying point of no return. But the threat is not just coming from the outside. The biggest danger to Mojtaba Khamenei right now is actually inside his own country. For years, the streets of Iran have been boiling over with anger. Millions of everyday citizens, especially the younger generation, are completely fed up with the strict rules, the crashing economy, and the total lack of basic freedom. They have protested time and time again, risking their lives to demand a better future. And every single time, the government has crushed them with extreme force. Now, these same angry citizens are watching a deeply unpopular son take the absolute power of his father without a single vote being cast to them. This is the ultimate insult. It is a harsh reminder that their voices do not matter at all to the men in charge. This massive wave of anger is exactly what makes the new supreme leader so incredibly dangerous right now. When a ruler feels trapped by his own people, he relies entirely on fear to keep control. Mojtaba knows that if he shows even a tiny crack of weakness, the protests will explode into a full revolution. So the iron fist is coming down harder than ever before. We are already seeing reports of massive internet blackouts across the country, preventing people from talking to the outside world or organizing on the streets. The secret police are working overtime, rounding up anyone who dares to speak out against the new regime. It is a total lockdown of a nation. And here's the most terrifying part of this internal panic. Dictators who are losing control at home often start massive wars abroad to distract their people. They need a big, scary outside enemy to force everyone to unite behind the flag. With the United States and Israel already launching strikes, Mojtaba has the perfect excuse to declare a total state of emergency. He can use the chaos of war to wipe out his political rivals and silence the brave protesters once and for all. This is a desperate fight for survival. Keep watching, because his next move will shock the world. But the most terrifying card Mojtaba Khamenei holds in his hand right now is not his proxy armies or his ballistic missiles. It is something much, much darker, sitting deep underground in heavily fortified bunkers. We are talking about Iran's highly controversial nuclear program. For years, the world has watched as Iran spun its centrifuges, enriching uranium closer and closer to weapons-grade levels. The previous supreme leader always maintained a public stance that the nuclear program was strictly for peaceful energy purposes, even issuing a religious decree against building a bomb. But that man is gone. And the old rules died with him in the rubble of his compound. Now you have a brand new, untested leader who has just watched his father taken out by foreign airstrikes. Mojtaba is sitting in the dark, surrounded by military hardliners, fighting a massive war on multiple fronts. In his mind, the absolute only way to guarantee his own survival and completely stop the United States and Israel from dropping more bombs might be to sprint for the ultimate weapon. If Mojtaba decides to issue a new decree and push that nuclear button, he completely rewrites the rules of global warfare. Overnight, Israel has made it crystal clear, time and time again, that they will never, under any circumstances, allow Iran to possess a nuclear weapon. If intelligence agencies get even a hint that Iran is assembling a warhead, the Israeli military will unleash a wave of bunker-busting strikes that would make the current bombings look small. We are talking about an apocalyptic scenario. If you want to stay ahead of these rapid global developments and understand how this nuclear threat impacts you, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we are breaking down every single move. You also have to look at who is standing behind Iran in the shadows. Mojtaba is not fighting this battle completely isolated. The world has split into two very clear sides, and Iran has built deep, powerful alliances with Russia and China. Both of these massive superpowers are watching this transition of power extremely closely. For them, a heavily distracted United States, tangled up in a massive Middle Eastern war, is a huge advantage. It drains American military resources, it spikes global oil prices, and it creates the perfect chaos for them to advance their own global agendas. But a cornered, desperate new supreme leader, sprinting for a nuclear bomb, makes even his allies nervous. If Mojtaba pushes too hard and too fast to prove his strength, he might spark a global fire that nobody, not even his strongest partners, can put out. The entire world is holding its breath to see if he reaches for the nuclear switch, but the chaos does not stop at the borders of Iran. And this is exactly where the nightmare scenario bleeds directly into everyday life. For decades, the old regime spent billions of dollars building a massive ring of fire all around the Middle East. They funded, trained, and armed incredibly dangerous proxy groups in Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. These shadow armies were perfectly designed for one specific purpose: to overwhelm the enemies of Iran from every single direction at the exact same time. Now, the remote control to that massive, terrifying war machine has just been handed straight to Mojtaba Khamenei. He does not even need to launch a single missile from inside his own country to bring the global economy to its absolute knees. He just has to give one quiet order to his loyal commanders in the field. The world is already watching heavily armed militia groups firing advanced rockets at commercial cargo ships, turning critical international shipping lanes into total war zones. But the ultimate weapon in his hand is the Strait of Hormuz. It is a very narrow strip of water sitting right on the edge of Iran, and nearly a third of the entire world's daily oil supply has to float right through it. If the brand new supreme leader decides to drop hidden underwater mines or uses swarms of fast attack boats to completely block that single waterway, the global energy market will crash faster than anyone can possibly predict. The price of fuel would double or even triple overnight. Massive cargo ships would be entirely unable to deliver the basic goods people buy at the local store. The shelves will go empty. The cost of absolutely everything will skyrocket. And the terrifying reality of a war thousands of miles away will crash right through the front door of everyday citizens. Most people scrolling past the news headlines think this is just another distant political fight that has nothing to do with them. They have absolutely no idea that the man sitting in power right now holds the ultimate chokehold on the entire global supply chain. If you want to know exactly how to prepare as these massive economic dominoes start to fall, hit the subscribe button right now, because this channel is tracking every single dangerous threat. The United States and its closest allies are rushing massive fleets of heavily armed warships into the region to try and force the water open. But putting that many rival warships, advanced fighter jets, and angry proxy fighters in one very tiny area is exactly like striking a spark inside a room flooded with gasoline. One single mistake or miscalculated rocket strike is all it takes to trigger a massive, completely uncontrollable chain reaction. Mojtaba Khamenei is holding the global economy hostage, boldly daring the rest of the world to make a move against his brand new regime. Nobody on earth knows if he is completely prepared to burn everything to the ground to secure his power. But the war Mojtaba Khamenei is preparing to unleash will not just be fought with loud explosions and warships in the desert. The most dangerous attacks are going to be completely silent, and they will strike directly inside the borders of the United States and Europe. For years, Iran has been quietly building one of the most sophisticated cyber warfare armies on the planet. They have trained elite hackers who operate hidden in the shadows. Now that the ultimate red line has been crossed with the death of the former supreme leader, that invisible army has been fully activated. Tehran knows they cannot defeat the American military in a straight fight. So They are going to attack the absolute most vulnerable targets they can find, the systems that keep modern life running. We are talking about massive cyber attacks aimed straight at the power grids that keep your lights on. We are talking about attacks on the water treatment plants and the banking systems that hold your life savings. Most people have no idea that foreign hackers are constantly knocking on the digital doors of our hospitals. If Mojtaba gives the green light, we could see entire cities plunged into total darkness without a single bomb ever being dropped. The chaos would be unimaginable. People would not be able to buy food or call for help. This is the new face of modern warfare, coming straight for the everyday civilian. If you want to know how to protect yourself when the digital lights go out and stay completely informed, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are exposing the truth nobody else will tell you. Beyond the digital threat, intelligence agencies are sounding a massive alarm about physical sleeper cells. For decades, the Revolutionary Guard has been sneaking highly trained operatives across international borders. These agents live completely normal lives, just waiting for a single coded message from Tehran to cause total panic. With his grip on power hanging by a thread, Mojtaba needs to show his supporters that he can strike the West directly, where it hurts. Security forces are already running massive sweeps to find these hidden threats. The real fear is what their hidden soldiers are preparing to do right in our own backyards. The world is standing on the edge, but here is the absolute most chilling truth about the man who just inherited the most dangerous throne on earth. Mojtaba Khamenei is a leader trapped in a box of his own making, and a trapped man with nothing left to lose is the most terrifying force in the world. He cannot step back, or his own powerful military commanders will rip him apart. He cannot show peace to the angry citizens protesting in the streets, or his entire government will collapse overnight. And he certainly cannot back down from the massive armies of the United States and Israel currently surrounding his borders, or he will look like a weak coward to the proxy fighters he desperately needs. Every single door is locked, except for one. The only path he has left to survive is to push the entire region into absolute chaos. We are watching the very first days of a completely new era in global history, and the old rules of war have been burned to ashes. The father spent 37 years carefully balancing on a tightrope, knowing exactly how far to push the West without triggering a full invasion, but the son does not have that experience, and he does not have that time. He is being forced to make the biggest decisions in the history of the Middle East while the ground is literally shaking under his feet from foreign airstrikes. One miscalculation, one rushed order to his shadow armies, or one panic sprint for a nuclear weapon, and the dominoes will fall so fast that no superpower on earth will be able to stop them. If you want to understand the terrifying truth about where this global conflict is heading before it hits the mainstream news, you need to hit that subscribe button. Right now, we are tracking the shifting front lines every single day, and you do not want to be left in the dark. The reality is that most people are completely asleep to what just happened. They see a new name in the headlines and scroll right past it, having no idea that the global supply chain, the safety of their digital grid, and the balance of world power are currently resting in the hands of an unelected shadow cleric fighting for his life. The reign of the father is officially over. The reign of the son has begun in fire and blood. The only question left is how much of the world will burn with him.